Welcome to Work Hard. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Jason.
Now this is podcasting.
Yo! Welcome back for another week of the greatest show on earth. We are talking Work Hard. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Ethan. Sorry. All right, I'm mind fried. Let's just get this out right out of the gate. Okay? I just spent hours at Jason's house doing manual labor. It ended with moving river rocks from the top of a hill to the bottom of a hill. And you would think, oh, it's just going down a hill. That's not that big of a deal. But the hill was a 70-degree incline. And I got something going on my left knee. Dude, it's the whole thing. So your boy, I'm a sleepy boy. I'm a tired boy. I'm ready to be done with the week. I know on stream that all of you come to watch the streams. So I know you all heard this. I promised the episode in a timely manner. That didn't happen. We continue to suffer the results of not having Mr. Industry with us. Jason is still away. He will be back at some point. We'll see when that point happens. It will be a glorious day. I tell you what, that'll be our first special episode is Jason's return. We miss him dearly. The episodes suffer greatly because of his absence. Part of the reason is because I have to just rip these. I can't plan them too much or they fall apart and it's not good. So what you're getting now is the result of that. And I'm exhausted again. So we are going to do a short one today, probably 30 minutes. That's when you are dealing with your subconscious and you feel this resistance, you're procrastinating over and over again. That's because your subconscious mind is there's something there. It sees it, whatever, and this is a beast that you are not capable of, that no one is. It's a very powerful thing. You have to learn to live with it in harmony. You can't white knuckle it. You can't be Mr. Robot and in control of it. That it will destroy you eventually as revenge. And I'm gonna keep wiping my eyes all day and all night because when I get tired like this, my face gets hot and red. It gets hot and red, and then my eyes become bloodshot and dry. And I don't have any eye drops. I keep eye drops around me, usually on my desk, because if you stare at 3 screens like this that I have all day, eventually your eyes, they calcify. They just turn into hard nuggets. They're not a soft, squishy organ anymore. They're more like rocks, and I can hear them moving in my skull, going like that. I don't have my eye drops. I don't know where they are. So we are all gonna suffer through this. What's this? An ant? What's this? An ant? There's an ant on my desk. What's this? An ant? Where'd this ant go? Oh, that's a big ant. I can't have this. I can't have this. All right, he's gone. I'm just going to let that guy live. I was going to burn him. I was going to light him on fire. I was going to end him like that. Work hard. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Today, we are going to discuss a topic I feel like I can cover briefly because there's not really that much to say about it, which is premium for what we're looking for today. You could even say it's hyper premium. We are going to discuss an internet phenomenon that happened recently. I think it's funny, it's light, it's airy, and it also is a very good, it's a good reminder of the world we could have. Okay. Recently, I don't know how recently this happened, but at some point in the recent past, maybe over the last year or so, I don't know when, um, Elon Musk implemented an auto translate feature using Grok, his AI, on Twitter, on X. And it turned, so now if you tweet like in Japanese, and if somebody tweets if a Japanese person tweets in Japanese and there's an English person from England reading the message, it auto translates it to English so that the English person can read it. Now, this created an environment where Americans became uniquely aware of Japanese people and their love for American culture. They like big trucks, they like cowboy hats, and it appears most of all, they like barbecues. They think it's crazy that we gather around fires that we have privately in our homes or outside of our homes and grill like big cuts of meat. That's like totally foreign to them. Apparently, you can't just set a fire in Japan like anywhere. It has to be, it's different. You can't just set a fire at your house. They have these grills that are like boxes. They're not unlike ours, but they're much smaller and they're done with coals. I don't know. This whole thing. But anyway, and that may not be exactly true. They may be able to do fires, but they were hit with the concept of bonfires, and they were pretty blown away by the concept of bonfires. And I think that that's very kind. I think that's very sweet. There was a lot of very funny interaction between Americans and Japanese people. Americans got to find out that I don't know if you guys if you're a listener of if you've been around for a while, if you've been listening or watching Work Hard for a minute, you know that I'm like on my ranking of ethnic groups or of races, it's like whites, Japanese, Mexican, somewhere in there, and then like everybody else, like all the European ethnic groups all down here, all the brown ethnic groups all down here. My ranking is like whites, Japanese, right under whites, and then Mexicans, like either next to Japanese or just below them. I'm very fond of those two groups of people. And so I think that's probably shared. I think a lot of Americans would, a lot of white Americans would say that they either feel totally neutral and are unaware of Japanese people or are tangentially aware that they're cool. And so a lot of American X users got to find out that the Japanese feel kind of the same way about us. They're like neutral to hell yeah. That's how they are about Americans. And so, and later we find out that it's just white Americans. Turns out when you get outside of the U.S., everybody gets pretty tribalistic, and they have some interesting, and dude, the Japanese go so hard. They're calling black people monkeys, things I would never say in a million years in my most racist moment. Things that I would never even think in my own heart, let alone type and put into the public. Japanese people go so much harder. But I think I saw somebody make a very good point, and it's a point I kind of want to expand on. I think it's worth talking about for 20 minutes. And it's kind of it's a move away from the usual self-help kind of content that I try to focus on, and more of a focus on a broader kind of social issue thing. And by the way, I don't condone calling black people monkeys. I think that's bad. I don't think you should be doing that. But I do want to kind of highlight this point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm tired. You have to just bear with me. I hope I'm charismatic enough to carry myself through my own, to carry us together through my own exhaustion. If this is unbearable, I forget. You can just turn it off, and just please accept my apology. Just wait for the next episode; it'll be better. I'll be less blown out. But this person mentioned that it was, on X. There's a lot of the culture is very is very politically extreme, right? So you have left wing Twitter, you have right wing Twitter. They both exist. Right wing Twitter is obviously much more prominent these days because X has gotten less. There's less censorship on X, and so it in a natural marketplace of memes and ideas and entertainment, the right is gonna win out in this day and age. So it's much more prominent on X to be like a right wing influencer. And sorry, I'm gonna minimize a bunch of stuff actually right now because it's all I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at all these open windows on my PC, and it's part of what's derailing me so heavily. Like I just read my buddy's playing a Steam game, and I just took the time to read it mid trying to record a podcast. Very, very highly professional. So there's a lot of right wingers, right? And this idea that right wingers are racist, that if you voted for Trump, you're racist, which, maybe that's true. I don't really know. I mean, I would argue that it isn't. But I would also argue that it's not morally wrong to be a little racist, right? Obviously, you can't take you don't want to take it to the extreme of like we are genetically superior, like whatever your group is, whatever your race is. You don't want to go to we are genetically superior, because I don't think that that's true. I think we are all even at the end of the day in the depths of our own sin before the eyes of God, and salvation very clearly transcends race. So, and that's the only thing that can change your state, as it were, as a human being. So, race obviously isn't that's not the defining characteristic of humanity. It's whether or not you're saved. And so, but I do think it is fine to want your grandchildren to look like you. I do think it's fine to want your culture to persist into the future. I think it's fine to want the people that look like you to persist in the future. I think that that's fair, and I think everybody has a right to want that and to work towards that. Now, all things being equal, you don't want to, like anything else, I think you're fine to advocate for your own family, for your children, for the people that you're around that you love, but I don't think you should sin in order to try to further their cause or whatever. So it's a fine line, but I do think being a little racist is fine. So I don't want to argue that right-wingers aren't racist. I want to argue that being racist is not as bad as you think it is. That being said, the accusation is that right-wingers are desperate racists, that the average right-wing person is motivated almost entirely by racism and bigotry and homophobia or whatever. This person that I don't remember who it was. I wish I did so I could put them on screen and credit them for this, but I don't remember who it was. But somebody tweeted that the level of very happy exchanges between Japanese people and Americans, primarily the American right, is like proof that American right wingers aren't actually that racist. We just don't like people who are not clean and who are disruptive to the social order, which I think is very true. And that, like, when it became very obvious who was being Indian, who was Indian online and who was not on X because of the country of origin sticker that you got with each tweet, there was obviously a lot of vitriol aimed at Indians, and there's been a lot of vitriol aimed at Indians from me and everyone else on the internet. But if you look at Japanese people, that's not the case, right? It's very warm. The interaction is very warm. and but Japanese people are not white; they're yellow. So what's the? It can't be that it can't be racism that's the problem here, right? You have a very large population of white people who are not turned off by Japanese people, but are very turned off by Indians. What's the defining factor here? It's not the racial difference. Could it be that Indians are playing in poop? Could that be it? Could it be that Indians are high in group preference and very difficult to deal with? Could it be that? Could it be that? I don't know. Just open your mind. But the one of the things that I do want to talk about, along with this, with that idea of like maybe we're right. Like maybe it's not that we're racist. Maybe it's that we like the safe and exciting world that we built in the U.S. and we don't want to see that usurped by rudeness and the. Let me tell you a story. I was at a state park not long ago, just a couple weeks ago. I was at a state park with my family, and there was a sign posted that said it's actually illegal to play music louder, so loud at that state park that anyone outside of your immediate vicinity, so like your little group, right? Let's say we went to this spring-fed lake, and we put a towel down. We put a little area for my youngest daughter to play, a little playpen for her. And so we had a little, 6 foot by 6 foot little area that was our area now. And so you're allowed to play music so that you can hear that, but you can't play music outside of that so it's too loud for anybody outside of that 6 foot by 6 foot area to hear. Okay. Now there's multiple groups of people here. They're all white. And that's actually not true. There's a black family. And they're chilling. They're doing their own thing. They're hanging out. Everybody's having a nice, quiet time at the lake, swimming in the swimming hole. All right. Me and my daughter are swimming. There's a young couple. They're swimming. Black family swimming. Older couple swimming. There was a weird guy in a Speedo walking back and forth, prepping himself up to go on. He swam the whole, it's huge. The lake is big. It's like 6 football fields in size. This guy swims the whole thing. Pretty cool. But anyways, good on him, old guy. Anyways, this Mexican family shows up, and they have a giant speaker, and they show up, plop themselves right in the middle of the lake, of the swimming area, right up against the water where you walk down the stairs to walk down. They put right there in front of everybody, take a giant speaker and start blaring music so loud that I can hear it from my truck in the parking lot. So I walk down and I go, "Hey, turn it down." The dad standing there, he's dressed insane. All right, he's at the lake. He's wearing Miss Me, Ed Hardy jeans that are completely torn in the front so that his legs are exposed all the way up to his upper thigh, and then they're joined by the lower stitching by his ankles. Okay, and they're big and baggy and hanging off of them, and he's got this crazy bedazzled shirt on and spiky, wildly spiky. It's stone. His hair has been carved and put on his head like a crown. It's not like a crown, not a crown. It's not naturally occurring growing out of his head. It's put on him like a Lego. And he's walking with this sort of swagger. Now he's chubby and soft like most Mexican guys that are past 35 are. He's got this strange oblong bean-shaped body with these little arms sticking out, and it's all very soft. And this guy, and dude, when I walk past they all get out of the car. I walk past their car. The tires are bald. I mean, he's in this old, not an old. It's a newer, but it's so beat up. This Chevy, and the Chevy midsize SUV, and the front tires, they look like F1 tires. There's no tread left on them. Crazy. All right. They get out, they walk past me. He's to the nines, this guy's swagged unbelievable. Walks past me. Right behind him comes a troop of really what I can only describe, of women that I can only describe as Michelin people. All right. They are just a stack of tires with a head put on top of it. They're enchilada moms, an enchilada woman, an enchilada young woman, and then an enchilada child. And then behind them is a whole gaggle of normal looking young kids. But they are all dressed in like Walmart athleisure clothes that are like pilling everywhere. So they look poor. He looks like what you would think a poor person that is going to be, like, what does a poor person think a rich person would look like? He looks like that. What does a poor Mexican guy think like a rich Mexican guy would dress like? That's how he's dressed. So all the money that they have is spent on this guy's swagged out outfit that they're going to wear to the state park. All right. That's in your head. All right. Now we're going swimming. Okay. That's why everybody's here. We're going to the lake to go swimming. And this guy is standing on the side of the lake. He's the man, arms crossed, heads held so high. He's chilling. Okay. Like this, on the edge of the lake, just looking over his castle with I love you and cortisol music going with a harmonica and the big, what are the big things that they have? The mariachi bands, they have giant guitars. They also have cellos. Are they playing cellos? Whatever. And an accordion, okay? That blaring it. The people on the campsites on the other side of the lake can hear it word for word. Blaring it. Now, do you think a Japanese person would do that? I'll tell you the answer. The answer is no. All right, I spent a week looking at Japanese people posting about African immigrants coming to their country and being loud on the train. It's like infuriates them. You think a Japanese man would bring his family down and play? I don't know what Japanese people listen to. Drum, just oh, ding, oh, dong. Like that's what I picture Japanese listen. That and anime theme songs is what I assume they're listening to. They listen to liquid drum and bass. I love liquid drum and bass. I hope that's what they listen to. Just electronic music. It's just they just listen to the sounds of bamboo rubbing together. That's what they listen to. Do you think a Japanese man would come and blare the sounds of bamboo rubbing together at the lake? No. He'd come with treats, and he'd bow to each person, and he'd say, "Thank you for letting me into your country." "Oh, thank you for letting me into your country." And he'd go to each family, bow, and say, "I brought you a rice cake, a rice cake, a rice cake, a rice. I got to work on that. A rice. I brought you a rice cake." And he gives us a rice cake. All right, that's a Japanese man at my lake. He's respectful. He comes clean. All right, he's got a backpack. It's got rice cakes in it. He's wearing. What do the Japanese guys wear? Does everybody wear a schoolgirl outfit there? He's wearing something respectful, okay? With this respectful, quiet family. He parades them out, okay? They walk in front of each one of us. They bow. "Oh, this is my daughter. My daughter. Oh, Kimiko. Hey, hey. Like that. And I go, "Yo, what's up?" And then he just goes and they're quiet and they bow. They get in the water. They bow to water. They bow to the stairs. They say, "Oh, thank you, stairs. Beautiful stairs." Hey. All right. That's a Japanese guy. Okay. So am I racist or is that Mexican guy loud? Am I racist or is that Mexican guy loud? That's the question. And that's what I want to posit to the squad here tonight. Am I racist? Are you racist? are you racist? Or do black people love throwing the boxes of napkins at Taco Bell employees? Do they love doing that when they're out of the cheese for the good cheesy gordita crunch? Do they go, oh hell no, not my neighborhood, no, hell no, and start throwing sauce packets at the heads of the employees? Am I racist, or do Indians swarm Costco's and get in each other's way, get in my way, get in each other's way, compete constantly for little tiny things that don't matter? Am I racist, or does an Indian guy get hired as a CEO he's got forged college documents? He gets hired as a CEO at some company, or he gets hired as some manager. He has forged college documents from a college in India that doesn't actually exist. He comes here on an H-1B. He gets hired as like an IT manager. He fires everyone that is an Indian and then hires a bunch of other H-1B Indians, like his cousins. And now nothing works. Now I can't log in. Am I racist, or can I not log in? Am I racist, or can I not log in? That's my question. I leave that to you. I'll put that on the table for you to answer. How come when I open up Google Docs, everything I just typed, right before I'm typing, Google Docs crashes, I open it up, everything gone. I thought it was autosave. Who's responsible for that? Am I racist, or does Google Docs not work? Now I'm getting hungry, so my hands are starting to shake. How long have we been doing this? 30 minutes on the dot? 30 minutes on the dot, but this recording has a bunch of stuff I'm going to edit out at the beginning. So we got to go. You're going to have to listen to this for a few more minutes. Now, here's the problem. I kind of forgot the point I was trying to make originally. I think everybody, all creeds of people, all races of people, have every right to want their version of the state park to be their version of the state park. If Mexicans want to gather and compete for audio dominance with giant speakers, I think they have the right to do that in Mexico. And here's proof. Here's proof that I think that. All right. I found out the other day that if you go to Japan, some restaurants like in Tokyo and stuff have if you don't speak Japanese, you can't come in here sign that says we are not here to serve foreigners. It says if you're a foreigner, don't come in here. I think that that's sick. And I would never imagine, I would love to go to Japan one day. I do think it's like a beautiful island, and I would like to see, the results of the samurai spirit in the modern era. I think it is probably actually kind of bleak, but I hope not, but I think it is, just from like the stats I see online or whatever. But I would love to go to Japan. I am going to go to Japan eventually, just to kind of see, check it out. And I'm going to go when I have the money to hire some like college Japanese kid to walk around with us all day and be like, no, this is not appropriate. This is appropriate. This is, you can do this. You can't do that. You have to sit like this on the train. You have to say, when somebody says this to you, this is what you say back to them. Because I am not interrupting the Japanese culture. I'm here to enjoy it. I want it to be the same way. Okay, I spent the whole time the Japanese, English people, or American people interacting on Twitter was happening, I was just on there going, kick all of them out. Like anytime I saw something that was like foreigners coming here are bad, I'm like, that's true. It is bad. Kick them all out. Stay Japanese. Don't ever accept anyone speaking any other language other than Japanese in your country. And if they're not yellow, get them out. Because I think Japan should stay I think it should stay yellow. Let the yellow man be yellow. Why are we trying to change his color? Why are we trying to change his language? They deserve Japan. They're Japanese. All right? Africa can be Africa. If they want to live however Africans live, I'm not going to talk about it. It's Africa. They get to do their own thing. Okay? If they want to live however they want to live, let them live that way. They can be African. There's nothing wrong with being African. It's perfectly fine to be African. It's perfectly fine to be African. It is perfectly fine that they would want to be African. It is wrong that we should go over there and say, hey, you got to be on time. That is white and racist. I agree. Now, we should all, you're sacrificing babies and bashing people's skulls in to get gold nuggets out of it or whatever. Maybe we got to get in there and say, hey, the human sacrifices will stop. I think that's probably fine. I think everybody agrees that that's fine. But I also think that if you just have, a good mission field in that area, I think just Christianity will root that stuff out to begin with anyway. So I don't think you have to get in there and mix things up. Maybe you do. I don't know. Whatever. I'm exhausted. I'm just rambling. So that's it. That's kind of my point. That's the episode. I don't think that being racist is that big of a deal. As long as you're holding it down, as long as you're not. Listen, here's the thing. If you're going, I hate this group of people because they do this thing that I don't like, and I think they all do it, and every time I see one of them, I'm gonna go, you suck, dude, because you're brown. I don't like Indians at all. All Indians are bad because Indian truck drivers keep decapitating white people on the highway. Let's tone it back, right? Let's bring it back. Maybe he's perfectly nice. He's just bobbing his head back and forth like this. It's kind of cute, Let's chill. I think if you're putting all Indians on trial and finding them all guilty of of original racial sin, I think that's bad. I think that you can go case by case. I think it's fine to recognize patterns, and when they do something Indian, you can go, okay, that guy did it because he's Indian. That's fine. But hate at any level is racial or not, even on an individual level. I hate that person. He said this to me. Now I hate him. That's not good, right? That's Christian banned. We banned that. Christ banned that. You're not allowed to do that. And so I think racial hatred is not good. I don't think it's a unique evil in the world. Racial hatred is the worst. It's the worst crime you could even be convicted of. You could be guilty of is hating someone because of their race. I don't think that's that big of a deal. No, it is a big deal. I don't think it's the worst crime of all time. I think you could probably put almost every other real crime above that. Murder, rape, those things are way worse. And I don't think it makes murder double bad to murder someone because of their race. I think it's just murder. So just hang them anyways. What's a hate crime? It's all a hate. Every crime's a hate crime. Just hang them. Anyways, I am full rambling now. Okay. I apologize. Don't be too racist. All right. That's the point. Don't be too racist. Be a little racist. It's healthy. It's good for you. It's good for blacks to want to be black. It's good for whites to want to be white. And it makes it easier for us to relate to each other if we have a firm understanding of who we are inside. If we have a firm understanding of our history and of our culture's contributions and of our culture's sins and failings, it makes it much easier to relate to other people's cultures. You have on an individual level, if you have a strong understanding of your own worldview, you have a strong understanding of who you are in the world, of your role in things, of what and who you are. If you have a strong sense of those things, you are going to relate to people in a much kinder, much more holistically healthy way. Whether that means that you are a little, more stern with people when they try to disenfranchise you or other people around you, but also you're much more forgiving. You're much more willing to operate in good faith. And I think that expands out if you have a group of people that have they have a strong understanding of who they are as a group. It makes it much easier for groups to relate to each other, and it reduces the total amount of racial animosity. I don't think it's bad for white people to enforce white rules in a white area. I don't think it's bad for Mexicans to, and I do distinguish, Mexicans distinguish. Okay, I'm saying Mexicans because, and I'm not saying Hispanics or Latinos or whatever, because Mexicans don't. All right, go talk to a Mexican. All right, they're very serious about they're Mexican. Okay, now I'm getting texts from my wife. It's dinner time, so it's totally fine for Mexicans to say this is Mexico. We're going to do this in a Mexican way. Don't come here and white up Mexico. That's totally fine. So don't come here. And well, yeah, you know what? Don't come here. We're just going to say that. Don't come here. Don't come here. We got enough. We got enough of you. All right? There's enough of you here, and you're not being very respectful. So just don't come here. Okay? Don't go to Japan. Leave them alone. Leave us alone. Go to your place. You don't like your place. Make it better. All right? Don't come here. That's it. Love everyone. Okay? Lead with love. Lead with love. And if you have to operate in self-defense, don't do it out of hate. All right? Do it out of a sober, somber, it sucks that you're causing this to happen, but you are acting out of line, and now we must enforce some rules on you, and this is going to be uncomfortable, and I wish it wasn't, but it is. All right? That's as far as you get to go in relation to quote-unquote being racist. All right? It has to be this somber thing. You don't want to do it, but you're playing the music too loud, and it's time to turn it off. That's it. Shout out Japanese people. Shout out Mexicans. Shout out black people. Shout out Indians. Shout out, what are other ethnic groups? Shout out all African ethnic groups. Shout out Europeans. Shout out Indo-Eurasian people. Shout out Slavs. Shout out the Mediterranean ethnicities. Shout out Jews. Shout out Eskimos. Shout out the Scandinavian ethnic groups. Shout out Anglos. Shout out Germanics. Shout out the Celts. Shout out, I can't break down African ethnicities. I don't know any of them. Shout out the Islanders. Pacific Islanders. Are the Kiwis Pacific Islanders? Shout out Kiwis. Shout out Aboriginals. Shout out, I think that's it. I think I got everybody. Shout them out, dude. Love everyone, and understand that Christ's mission has nothing to do with race, and will supersede that. The whole world will bend its knee. Every tongue will confess that Christ is King. That doesn't mean that the nations and ethnic groups are not unique and distinct and deserve to be their own thing. And that includes white people, all right? Whites are allowed to be white, and we're allowed to have our own country, and we're allowed to make it white, all right? Get out of here. Love you guys. I'm out. Deuces. I'll see you next week. If you don't have a family, I feel like it was a little harsh there on that episode. How do I recover from that? I did fine. That's fine. You're fine. If you don't have a wife, go to church, find a good girl, marry her, have children with her, raise those children as Christians, no matter what color they are. No matter what color they are. No matter what color you are. All right? Find a wife and marry her. It doesn't matter what color she is. All right? If you're white and she's Indian, and you prayed about it and you're like, this is my woman, then that's your woman, dude. That's who God wants for you. Make weird little half Indian, half white kids. I think that's it. We're good. Guys, I love you. We're out. See you next week. Bye-bye.